Immersion in video games is usually thought of as hyper-realism or a well-written story that makes you feel like you are actually in the game. However, Doom Eternal, a Bethesda game released in March of 2020, uses a completely different type of immersion. Doom Eternal does not have an incredibly deep storyline, nor does it have any sort of realism. Instead, you are sucked into the game because of the simple emotions and motives of the main character, as well as one of the best game soundtracks ever made. The main character, the Doomslayer, hates demons. His hatred goes back far into the past. He fought alone in hell itself, and wants to eradicate it and all of the demons with it. When humanity is being killed and harvested by the demons, the only one capable of saving what remains is the Doomslayer. This makes the player feel very powerful right off the bat because they know almost as soon as they start playing that they are capable of taking on hell on their own, and that they are the only ones that hell fears. Despite this emphasis on the main character, the Doomslayer doesn't say a word throughout the entire game. He displays his hatred in the way he utterly tears apart any opposition he comes across. He is insulted that any demon would stand in his way. This is emphasized even more when you fight a boss. The emphasis comes from a few things that the player is consciously or subconsciously aware of. 1. The boss is significantly more powerful than your average demon, and the boss knows this. Because of this, the boss believes that it can kill the Doomslayer. 2. The player knows that they are more powerful than the boss because of basic game design and what they've seen of the Doomslayer's capabilities. 3. The boss's presumed power is insulting to the player. From your perspective, a comparatively weak creature is challenging your power and must be defeated. So by letting the player know just how angry the Doomslayer is, the game becomes much more satisfying to play. Each demon killed is a bit of revenge, a bit of satisfaction. Every boss slain is a step closer to eradicating all demons. But with these emotions and motives, each fight seems much too personal. A being as powerful as the Doomslayer would not give much thought to each adversary. Each fight should be a little part of a rampage, not a duel. This is where the music comes in. When the soundtrack starts playing, each individual fight becomes less important. As soon as you hear one of the songs, everything starts to fade out, and it becomes difficult to focus on anything but See what I mean? But where is Hell's fear? It seems like there's only an insulting lack of fear coming from the demons. They mindlessly attack you without hesitation, so what's all this about the only thing they fear is you? Well, the fear does not come from the demons themselves. They are not capable of feeling that. They're really just pawns. Their purpose is to hate, kill, and repeat. The only way the demons display fear is through how many of them are there and how much they resist you. At the start of the game, there's a cutscene of the Hell Priests and the Khan Maker, which is a big angel-looking thing, telling the Doomslayer that he should stop before it's too late and that he cannot succeed in his mission. Then, as the Doomslayer kills the Hell Priests one by one, they become more afraid. They start to realize how powerful the Doomslayer really is. They show this by increasing the power and number of the forces they send at you. This only builds their fear higher as you keep beating every demon you encounter, until the game comes to a climax with the final boss fight in which your enemy's last-ditch effort utterly fails. You may realize once you beat the game that there was never really any chance of failure, and while yes, as long as you keep dying and respawning you will eventually beat really any game, what I'm talking about is a different kind of assured victory. Throughout the entire game, it's you that's on the offensive. It's you that everyone fears. You go through the game repeating a simple loop in order to complete your main goal. This loop consists of 1. Locate a big bad guy, this is sometimes multiple steps, 2. Kill a bunch of demons, and 3. Kill the big bad guy you locate. This simplicity doesn't make the game feel boring or repetitive, instead it shows the Doomslayer's single-minded determination to complete his goal, thus the feeling of guaranteed victory. You simply cannot imagine the Doomslayer failing because he is so focused on what he is trying to do. Now, the reason more games don't use this type of immersion is because it sets some major limitations on the story. Take, for example, a classic adventure game like Skyrim. Because the game has so many characters, each with their own emotions, and the motives are at least in part determined by the player, you can't really have one big emotion portrayed by the game. To make one emotion such a big part of the game, the whole story, and by extent the gameplay, has to revolve around it. This would also severely limit the characters, as if they were all displaying the same emotion, it would get pretty boring. Doom only has one big main character, which is why it works. Keeping the game entertaining with all this going on is quite the balancing act, which is why Doom Eternal is so simple yet so amazing.